Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, bringing you a grand solar minimum update on Friday, May 25th, 11:20 p.m. Mountain Time, 2018. You're looking at northern China snow with tulips happening today, May 25th. Live shot. Grand solar minimum much? Grab a cup of Boom coffee and put your Boom goggles on. We're headed to Boom Town. And that's Boom. May storm dumps record snowfall in Canada. Late spring snowstorm we talked about yesterday dumped over a foot of snow in Gander, Newfoundland on May 24th. The most snow ever received so late in the season, according to local reports. That is a change from yesterday, which only brought the snow back to 1965, but that's because local reporting started then. So that's another global warming alarmist scam to misinform you. This, in fact, is the most snow ever since records have been kept on this date. That is a grand solar minimum. Absolutely. Snow on the Mount Rose Highway. Chain restrictions have been removed. This is up in Nevada today. Reno. Chains or snow tires are no longer required on Mount Rose Highway. Just a week before June. Below is a look at the roads from earlier this morning. Check it out. Chains or snow tires needed for Mount Rose Highway between the ski resort and Diamond Peak. Remember, kids, there is a winter weather advisory in the Reno area for elevations above 8,000 feet until Saturday morning. You're not out of the woods yet. Check out the GFS model. Subtropical storm Alberto, as we predicted 2 weeks ago, sitting down here by Cuba, 1,008 millibars. Let's just quickly run it through here. This is midday tomorrow. As this tropical depression forms into a hurricane by Sunday midnight. So by tomorrow night, Sunday morning, this will be a hurricane, Cat 1. And it is going to dump some heavy rain on the west coast of Florida Sunday afternoon and Sunday evening, moving up into the Panhandle, where there will be a deluge. Just west of Tallahassee, into Alabama, Mississippi. This is going to hang out for a little bit. Spin around here. Drop to 995 millibars on Monday at noon. So this will now be a hurricane, Cat 1, Cat 2, offshore of New Orleans and all the Gulf states, centered right here on Monday afternoon. We're going to watch this model as it makes sure Monday night, landfall Monday night, Tuesday morning, and then it quickly dissipates in the model. But it is going to then re-intensify and bring tons of rain, and the system explodes. We're going to get 10 to 20 inches of rain over the next 5 days in the southeast. So we're going to be watching this very closely. Check out landfall, tip of Florida. And that is first landfall Sunday, second landfall Tuesday. So we have a double major event happening, and we're going to watch how this unfolds very closely. Enough snow left for skiing at Killington. This happened last year too, kids. May 25th, the Killington Resort in Vermont posted pictures today with snow still around and groomed and ready to rock. It says the grooming team worked their magic for the final 2 days of the longest season in the East. The final day of the season is Saturday. Almost June, and they're skiing in the Northeast. Who would have thunk it? Watch as this shoot for subtropical storm Alberto, the first storm of 2018 Atlantic hurricane season, churns in the Western Caribbean. We showed you the model. We're going to be watching this closely. It currently is only blowing at 40 miles per hour. This is going to double in the next 24 hours. So tomorrow night's update will be much more informative. Let's go to the Weather Ready Nation map. We have flooding here in Oregon, throughout Wyoming and small counties here in Montana. Red flag watches up for the entire Four Corners region, as well as fire watches in New Mexico and heat warnings in Texas. The flood watches are already in effect throughout the southeast, as well as hurricane warnings and tropical storm warnings and watches. In the same areas I showed you where the landfall is going to happen twice, Sunday and Tuesday. Double landfall, double bonus. Tulips blooming in snow at Jingbulake scenery spot, northwest China, Xinjiang. That was our opening to the vid. There are multiple pictures here. Come check it out. I don't make it up. Photos taken today show tulips in the snow at Jingbulake scenery spot, Kital County, northwest Xinjiang, Udgar Autonomous Region. 2018 snowfall hits the county on the 24th. We reported on it last night. Scenery was gorgeous. We're having a meltdown. Let's go to the data. Look at the direct comparison of the past 4 interglacials via ice core temperature reconstructions. You've seen our GISP too. Here's the Minoan warm peak. Here's the Roman warm peak. Here's the medieval warm peak. Here's the current empire peak. And this black line is where you're at, which all of the last 4 interglacials showed a massive drop of up to 2 degrees C in the next 50 to 150 years. And what that means for you and me is a complete failure of the empire, the end of the system as we know it, the end of technology, the end of the grid, and the beginning of a new life. Perth storm, severe cold front hits New Zealand and Australia's southwest, bringing heavy rain, winds, and flooding. The full force of Mother Nature is being felt in Western Australia as emergency services deal with damaging winds from a severe cold front that also has dumped heavy rain in Perth and the southwest side of the state. A severe weather warning remains in place for people across the southwest region, including Perth, as well as parts of Great Southern and Central Wheat Belt, with a second storm front set to cross the coast this evening. Heads up, do not get struck by lightning. Over 400 lightning strikes have been recorded in the last 24 hours. Cold southerly gales set to blast eastern New Zealand. It could be a bad couple of days for umbrellas, with gales set to blast eastern New Zealand. Eastern parts of New Zealand are set to blast of frigidly southern gales over the next couple of days. The Met Service said cold southerly gales would batter eastern coastal areas on Sunday and Monday as a cold front moved up the country. It warned that there is a possibility the gales may become severe and expose coastal areas at times from Banks Peninsula to the East Cape. 10,000 are without power at this time. Heads up, it's just beginning. Still not at winter. Now, being cold and rationing heat is now becoming normal in New Zealand. Yes, that's because of the ongoing descent into the eddy minimum caused by increased cloud nucleation due to cosmic ray flux increase, which is going to be happening for your entire lifetime, unfortunately. Now, that's not the only thing. Rationing heat is the new normal in New Zealand. So is cold, and so is rationing food, unfortunately, which is completely insane. This is coming from the New Zealand Herald. Northland families seeking food parcels has nearly doubled. This does not bode well for a time when we're entering, which is rife with crop loss and soon to be spikes and food shortages. Spikes in food costs and spikes in food shortages. Now, here is what's coming in from the Salvation Army Director of Community Ministries. Demand for food parcels in Whangarei is going through the roof, and the Salvation Army is bracing for the busiest winter ever, with nearly twice as many people seeking help so far this year than the whole of 2017. Did you hear that? Twice as many so far than the whole of 2017. Northlanders escaping higher living costs in bigger cities and heading back home are adding to a growing demand for food items, apart from help with other major expenses such as power, petrol, and GP visits. You better start becoming self-sufficient, folks. Seismic update, no quakes of note, except out here in this volcanic arc system where we still have a 5.2 in Mayotte kicking off, keeping our eyes right for a volcanic activity to start here at any time. We have some interesting Yellowstone activity, a 3.0 here in Montana. It could be basin and range. We do have an uptick in the Aleutians, moderate, but nothing of note except for Hawaii, which is ongoing and does not seem to be showing any letting up. Kilauea volcano update. East Rift Zone fissure eruption continues. Blue flames and multiple lava ocean entries. The impressive eruption that has started at Kilauea, Hawaii since early May is still going on. During the night from May 22nd to the 23rd, the lower East Rift Zone eruption site that produced the most robust volcanic activity from the middle portion of the fissure system has increased epically, with the most active fissures 22, 19, 6, 5, and 23. The ocean entry remained very active, creating lays and small explosions. A very interesting observation was that of methane gas burning in blue flames in the cracks of Kahuake Street on May 22nd around 11:30 p.m. When hot lava buries plants and shrubs, buries, methane gas is produced as a byproduct of burning vegetation. So they're still claiming methane on that. Worldwide volcano news update. Popo, possible eruption occurring just moments ago, as well as Kluchaskov in the Kamchatka, Sabankaya, and Langila. There's a possible eruption at Kluchaskov. There's the satellite. Langila, definite eruption here. You can see the volcanic ash and gas in this lower region. We also have Kilauea, Sakurajima, and Sabankaya. Sakurajima erupting again, day after day after day. Space weather update real quick. That spot that is turning towards Earth, active region 2712, has come back to life. So we're going to be watching this closely. It's a pretty large spot for a solar minimum sun, and it could create a C flare. Small probability of M flare currently. It's still beta CSO according to solarham.net, but they have not updated this. This spot is much more rotated around the limb. Intensity is high, and we have some small flaring up into the moderate B range in the last 12 hours. Now, if we come here to the planetary K index, you can see that the solar wind is way low, down into the 350 kilometers per second range. Density is down. The temperature is perturbed. And that is putting us in KP0. And we currently have a space weather watch for myocardial infarctions and other people with heart problems. We are at KP0. This means that we all have psychic abilities. So try to tap into your third eye tonight if you're going to watch this when I update it. That also means that we have a potential for large earthquakes in the next 24 hours. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on the spot as things come together. Now, one of our subscribers sent us a Farewell to Ice by Peter Wadhams, a new TED Talk that was just published on May 23rd. It's complete nonsense. Already has 2 thumbs down, and all the comments, including ours, is like, this guy's a fraud. Why are you publishing him? So come look at this video, put your honest opinion below, give it a thumbs down, and tell him to suck it. Now let's talk about Peter Wadhams. This is the guy. He's a scam artist. 3 scientists investigating melting Arctic ice may have been assassinated, according to this conspiracy theorist who believes that the Earth is burning up. Cambridge professor Peter Wadhams suspects the death of 3 scientists were more than just extraordinary coincidence. He blames the oil and gas industry because what these 3 people were finding was that the Earth was burning up, and they think that the oil and gas industry killed them to hide the truth. Well, analysis of the next year or the year after the Arctic will be free of ice, according to Peter Wadhams, is completely alarmist and misleading. 7 scientists analyzed the articles by this D-bag, Peter Wadhams, and estimate its overall scientific credibility to be extremely low. A majority of the reviewers tagged the article as alarmist and misleading. I'll leave you links to the synopsis of the conclusions here on what a J-arse Peter Wadhams actually is. He gets the most funding, and he is on the highest pedestal in the global warming world. Total charlatan. Let's talk about real scientist Timothy F. Ball, Tim Ball. His credentials here being smeared by Dishmog blog, total nonsense site. He has a PhD, an MA, and a BA. He was one of the first climatologists coming out of Canada ever. Historical geographical climatologists. He knows where on Earth it used to be cold. That's pretty practical knowledge when studying climatology. This site goes on to bash him and saying he was never a climatologist. He's a denier. Because if we don't believe in global warming, we couldn't possibly be actually independently thinking scientists that came to our own conclusions, independent of funding. Well, Tim Ball is one of the good guys. He's going to be joining us on our radio program after we have Lawrence Pierce, A New Little Ice Age Has Begun, author of, who's going to be on this Wednesday. Tim Ball will try to get him on in 2 weeks. I reached out to him and he emailed us back. Here's his credentials. I'll leave you links down there. That's his website. He's a good guy. I know his wife via Facebook. She supports his work. They're just an awesome couple. He's an awesome scientist. We're going to be talking about global cooling and the facts on the radio show. True that. Coming from No Trick Zone, we're not here to worship what is known, but to question it. And that is the truth. This is coming out May 21st. Scientists have found the missing link from sunspot activity. You're getting that knowledge here on the Oppenheimer Ranch Project. And it is cosmic rays and clouds. And this comes from the work of Svensmark and others. Real quick, I'll show you the graph that is very telling. This is cloud cover decreasing, and this is the temperature increasing. And then you can see as cloud cover moderates, constant, the temperature moderates. And then now as cloud cover will exponentially increase for the next 150 years, the temperature will decrease rapidly. This is only going to be accentuated by increased volcanism, increasing the albedo effect and cooling the planet rapidly. I'll leave you links to all this, but real quick we can come look at the total solar irradiance in 1700. So back at this low dip, all the way back here, this is the mini ice age, the Maunder minimum. Here we're looking at the Dalton minimum, which was caused by total solar irradiance at the lowest point here. And here is the centennial minimum. The cooling was caused by total solar irradiance hitting a solar minimum, grand solar minimum, grand solar minimum. Here's the cooling in the 50s. Well known, when Kennedy was shot, it was freezing cold. And we're going back into a cooling period, one that's going to take us well below Dalton minimum levels. Well below Dalton minimum levels. In fact, if you look at the interglacial data, it's going to drop the planetary temperature at least 2 degrees C, if not more, in the next 100 years. That's based on increased volcanism due to cosmic ray flux. And those are the facts, kids. I'm going to leave you with how to build a shelter. Learn about the shelters you can build in the time of need. If you're traveling or bugging out and you didn't bring the right proper tools, it's good to know how to build a shelter. Also, if you're in a survival situation, there are shelters you can purchase, such as tents and hammocks, but there are also types of shelters you can build. You can learn it quickly by looking at this article and getting a good tarp. We suggest one of the expensive canvas ones that are coated in oil. They're usually $60, but it's worth the expense. They do not get broken down by sunlight and last for decades. What exactly are preppers prepping for? Well, if you listen to this channel, it's global unrest due to crop loss coming soon due to the empire failure model repetition, thanks to the sun, called the global warming cycle, which is a grand solar minimum cycle driven by cosmogenic forces. Every 1,000 years, there's a peak, followed by a massive drop-off ending the empire. Again and again and again, here's the medieval drop-off, and here's the modern empire drop-off, which you're living currently. The next few years are going to accelerate us down to Maunder minimum levels. Indeed. So what are we prepping for? We're prepping for a solar kill shot, an EMP, a nuclear war. Global unrest and crop loss leads to famine and lack of food in the supermarkets. An EMP or solar flare kill shot will destroy the grid and cause global unrest because everything will be gone. There will be no more small squares that people can stare in and be preoccupied. They'll actually have to realize with their real eyes that they've been told real lies. And that's a heads up. At least 52 people in Utah have been poisoned by fake cannabis oil. What these scumbags are doing from China and other places is using fake cannabinoids, fake cannabinoids here in the form of fake THC, which is flooding the market because the government made it and it was crap, and then they probably sold it to some scumbags. We're talking about 4-cyano cumul butanaka, or 4-CCB, a synthetic cannabinoid meant to mimic THC. Unfortunately, it kills people and it's toxic to many. That's why you just want to use the pure plant product. It's the safest plant on earth, safest herbal medicine ever created. None of this crap. And this is coming from something that you can buy at truck stops. And the company is called YOLO CBD. Let me get the right name here so that you know what the crap is. And if you have it, it's YOLO branded oils from truck stops and smoke shops in states where cannabis is illegal. This stuff is just like fake weed. It is very dangerous. If you have any YOLO branded oils or you know friends that have these, tell them to throw them away. They are completely toxic and dangerous. I'll leave you links to this article so you can share it with your friends. It's very important that we get this crap out of there. It was created by our government, and the plant is not harmful. The plant is completely harmless. Government created artificial cannabinoids are very dangerous as the governments are themselves. Guys, I hope you got something out of the video. Times are changing quickly. You do not have time to prepare. Every day you should be taking steps to secure your future, to survive and thrive in a time when there is no more grid, there are no more supplies at the store, and there are very few people in the cities. Those that are in the cities will have a barcode and will not be able to leave. Heads up. Be safe. We love you. That's a boom.